Welcome back, college baseball fans. I'm excited for this one. Guess what? First of all, before we introduce our guest, Football Micah is done. We finally get Baseball Micah back, and he's here tonight. And then Jon Opiela of did I say your name right?
Opiela, but I don't.
I'm starting this. I'm starting the recording over.
Should have let me do the intro because I would have gotten it right.
All right, but, you know what? Let's do it. No, stop the recording and do it again. It's preseason for everybody.
That's the most just means less entrance I have ever seen. I'm just saying. So
the moment
just means a little less.
There we go. It's funny because right before we started going on, I hit record and I was like, I forgot to ask Jon how to pronounce his last name. Jon is the Assistant Director for Strategic Communications with the ACC. He covers baseball, cross country, field hockey, and track and field. But baseball's king, and we're getting close to that season. Jon, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. Love listening and excited to hop on and talk some ball with you guys tonight.
Yeah, and Micah, you are back. How's that feel?
It feels good. It's actually funny, Monty. Today I had my marketing plan meeting with Will, our head baseball coach at Lamar, and he actually asked me, he's like, so like, how'd this whole ACC thing come to be? Like, and how do they feel about it? I'm like, well, joke's on you. Like, I'm actually going to be on a podcast with the guy that does baseball for the conference tonight. So obviously, like, they love it. Like, they're all in on the just means less mantra. And he's like, really? I'm like, not really all in, but like they at least like that we covered them. But no, it's good to be back. It's funny. It's 40 degrees in Texas and everyone's acting like the sky is falling. And I was wearing like just a normal hoodie today. And they're like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, this is called like October and November and everywhere else I've ever lived. So, it's the sky is falling. We're the only part of Texas, though, that's supposedly not going to get snow. So we're not freaking out as much as Dallas is, but still, it's pretty fun.
Just don't mess with that power grid, please, because it affects the whole country. So let's not mess with that. Jon, first let's start a little bit with talking about what your job is and what it entails, and how you work with each of the individual teams.
Yeah. So I consider myself to be quote unquote like the SID for the overarching 16 baseball teams in the ACC. So for a long story short, my job involves putting the ACC in the best possible light, working with some of our national partners, whether it's ACC Network or you guys or D1 Baseball or anybody else who wants to talk ACC baseball and say great things about us and talk about how great our student athletes are. It's an all-encompassing job. I get to think baseball seriously for about 6 months of the year. Gets put on the back burner a little bit in the fall when you got field hockey and cross country going on. But at the same point, it's all in, and love getting to do it every single day and working with all of our schools.
It's got to be really fun to see how much college baseball has grown over the last few years. I imagine it's made the job a little bit more encompassing.
Yeah, it has. So I started as a GA at Oral Roberts, went out full-time to New Mexico State where it only snowed once. So I get the freaking out. It snowed once, and we played that same night because it melted and it was 55 degrees at first pitch. But yeah, the way it's grown in the coverage and how much people care about it in the television and the accessibility of it in the last 5 to 10 years has been phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, and Micah being in Texas, we were just talking about this a little bit before the show. He's going to get to really focus on that TV and remote coverage of the ACC this year since SMU doesn't have a baseball team.
I say make sure you're plugged into ACC Network Extra, and we'll make sure you get to watch pretty much everything you need to.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Jon, were you at New Mexico State the year that they went to Oregon State and won one of those games in the regional?
I did, yeah. We took them to extra innings.
Did they win, or was it just take it to extras? I thought it was.
Oh,
I would say we took them to extras. We lost in
right.
I think 11 or 12. But yeah, it was a phenomenal experience having Corvallis shaking in their boots in a legitimate way, and then turning around. And we won't talk about what happened in the Saturday game against Vanderbilt.
Well, it feels like, because Monty, you mentioned it, like how college baseball has grown a lot. Like, I'm not saying that was the game that changed the landscape of college baseball, but I remember that was like a 11:30 on ESPN, like a lot of people were watching that game going, what the heck is going on? Like, Oregon State, I think, was top 4 overall national seed. Like, New Mexico State had just gotten hot in the Conference USA tournament. But if I'm not mistaken, right, the record was like under 500. Like,
we finished that year under 500. We needed Cal Baptist and Utah Valley and somebody else who was reclassifying to not be eligible for the WAC tournament at the time. Went in a run through Mesa, Arizona, finished it off, and went 4-0 there somehow. And we found ourselves in Corvallis, Oregon with 5,000 people sitting on top of the dugout there. And it was rowdy and it was fun. So I think, but yeah, like you were saying, everything else on the East Coast was wrapping up throughout the day. So by the time Corvallis got to first pitch, and especially late in the game when we're taking them to extras, it's everybody that was tuned into Squeeze Player to the East Coast games is now trickled over to ESPN2 or whatever, and they're all watching the Aggies and the Beavers battle it out.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned being kind of like the SID of SIDs for the ACC. For anyone not familiar with it, they are the basically the communication liaisons for the schools and, as for in John's case, the conference. And there's a lot of new faces in the conference this year. I got all excited because I was working really hard last year to build some relationships, and even guys that didn't leave schools got promoted out of baseball to be the primary on football. So I think it's something like 9 or 10 new SIDs if you count Cal and Stanford coming in. So what's that kind of been like, to kind of get everyone together and working with some new relationships?
I would say it's been interesting. I say, like you were talking about, 9 new SIDs in the league. Couple guys got promoted football only. Now you've got the 2 new ones way out west, and Kyle and Tyler at Stanford and Cal. And then 7 other new ones just within last year's footprint. It's been interesting to try and now make new relationships like you were talking about with all the SIDs who just came in, or who I just started getting used to last year after I came in middle of the year. And really learning and trying to get accustomed to everybody. But it was funny, over the summer I cleaned out the group text from last year of delete all the
That's what I heard. It was pretty funny to hear that from one of the SIDs. They're like, John just cleared out the the group chat.
They're all iPhones, so it was easy to take them out and then replace one by one of trying to then go through the list and count 16 names and make sure I had everybody. But yeah, I'll have to show you that at some point. But it's deleted 9 people or 7 people, added 9 more, and just trying to figure out who all goes where.
So any ACC baseball SID listening, I will buy you an Android just to mess up John's group chat.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm jealous that you got everyone with an iPhone, because that can be difficult to do. That drives me nuts, because I'm in a couple group chats with the Android, and I don't know why, but it's a brilliant kind of marketing thing from iPhone that you can just create people getting angry and bullying others into getting an iPhone because of a green bubble.
I say I'm shocked that we're 16 for 16. That's a pretty good ratio, and I'm sure somebody in the league is going to want to start 16 for 16 and to play it in a couple weeks here.
There you go. We just mentioned Cal, Stanford, the addition of 2 great schools, but logistically, the geography makes it a little difficult. But in terms of some of the other stuff, there's a lot to be excited about. Micah's wearing the Cal hat right now.
I say Michael loved his trip out to California this fall.
We're lucky to get him back.
400 pictures of it throughout the time. I
feel bad. 437. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I lost count. Must have gotten on the Android part of things. I feel bad for the poor SIDs at Cal and Stanford, because I get into the office of something I thought about on my way on my commute in. So it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'm firing off emails to everybody, and suddenly I realize, oh crap, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning out there, and I'm waking people up on accident. But no, I'm excited.
Post-game recap emails at 1 o'clock in the morning are going to hit different, though.
I say it's going to be great staying up to watch ACC After Dark and finishing up and wrapping up stats every night at 1 in the morning. So that'll be fun. But no, we're really excited. 2 teams have combined for 25 trips to Omaha, 4 titles. I think we're really, really excited to have some really strong West Coast names out there and really expand our coast-to-coast footprint. I mean, as somebody who was out on the West Coast, or not West Coast for a little bit, but out West for a little bit, you really realize how much good baseball is still played out there that just doesn't truly get covered the same way some of the East Coast does. So I'm excited to get to see those midweek games and weekend series right off the bat to really solidify this.
Yeah, I'm really excited for especially Stanford, not to take anything away from Cal, but that pitching staff, I mean, Stanford brings like 99% of their innings back. But come on, Rentaro. I'm sorry, Micah, Rentaro.
I got to watch him this summer, okay? It's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal.
Fly boy.
He just broke all of Ohtani's high school records. It's no big deal.
Say casual.
I don't think people
hey, Cal won 36 games last year, though.
Yeah, I mean,
like you said, 99% of innings and 2 already perfect game preseason All-Americans.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun pitching staff to watch.
And I don't think people understand how good Rentaro is going to be. I'm really excited for that.
So I've had some interesting conversations with Tyler at Stanford, their SID, of how the legend of Rentaro has grown and the coverage that he gets both from American media and the Japanese media, and how they're handling that or what they're planning to do throughout the year. And I'm excited to see.
Am I going to have to be like, I hated Georgia Tech at the beginning of the year and then changed my entire thing? Is that how I need to be about Rentaro? Because I watched him strike out a lot in the Appy League. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not saying that he's not special.
Wow.
I watched a lot of strikeouts in the Appy League.
And
I'm just saying.
It's funny you mentioned It's funny you mentioned the media, John. I'm scheduled to have Aaron Fitt and Darren Vaught on, and Darren has obviously been working hard on a project that we're going to promote when he's on, just all about Rentaro. So,
I said, yeah, Darren called me at one point this fall to kind of lay out his plan of Rentaro mania.
Yeah, it's a good idea So when he told me about it, I was like, oh man, that's a good idea. So. But Micah's obviously very, very excited for Cal and Stanford.
Right with the Cal, I mean, when he goes 0 for 9, 0 for 10 against Cal in that weekend series, I mean, I'm just going to say I told you so, Monty. That's all. We'll clip this now, and I'll just come back to it. It's fine.
I was about to say, somebody clip this. Make sure you keep it in the bookmarks, and we'll see what happens here.
Definitely, when I generate the shorts from this, I'm definitely going to make sure that's clipped.
He's going to walk off home run, and instead of Monty tweeting the home run, he's going to just tweet that.
Tweet this. I'll edit it together. I'll have it go right from your comment right into that.
Just make it a voiceover. Just cut the Cal audio.
He's going to go 0 for 10, and it's just.
It's funny because, Micah, one of the first things he called me was trying to get me to do a West Coast road trip because I believe Duke and UVA are both on the West Coast the weekend of the March 14th to 16th, and Micah was like, "Hey, man, we should go to that." And I'm like, "Man, I'm already booked up on trips, and you want me to get on a plane?"
But I want you to watch me throw out a first pitch at Cal, Monty. That's all I want.
They're also coming here plenty of times, and that's exciting. So they're going to come to me. But very exciting. And academically, they fit so well too in terms of what the ACC does. Again, if it wasn't for the logistics, they're a perfect fit.
Absolutely. I said they've brought so much to the table already through all the fall sports and the Olympic sports. And I'm really excited as a selfish way of watching them slide into the ACC footprint for baseball, because I think, once again, they're a phenomenal fit. But everything about the two institutions, from academics to culture to lifestyle and whatnot, is, I think, a great fan base. I think it's a really good fit for our conference.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've always wanted to watch a lot more of the Pac-12, but I didn't have Pac-12 network here on the East Coast. Couldn't get it.
Nobody out there did either. So
yeah. So it drove me nuts. Micah had it.
I purposely paid for Fubo TV an additional $15 a month just to watch Pac-12 After Dark.
I didn't get to watch it. So like we'd be doing like the weekend rotation at College Baseball Central on Saturday, and for some reason I'd get stuck with one of the West Coast teams. They'd be like, I think it was Stanford was one of the examples in the right. It was like a regional preview, and somebody was like, "Monty, how do you feel about Stanford?" I was like, "I think they're good. I hear they're pretty good. I don't
From
know
what I
for
can
sure.
read.
Yeah, for what I can read, I assume they're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited. I know that we've already gotten some rave reviews from Cal and Stanford fans about the football coverage on ACC Network as opposed to whatever it was before. So that's good news and strong for as we get into basketball and into the more important baseball season. But speaking of the strength of the ACC, I mean, I feel like I was thinking about it earlier. I think I had a tweet earlier today about certain teams that might be picked towards the bottom of the conference, and yet I think those teams can threaten for postseason berths. I feel like 1 through 16, any one of these schools can make the NCAA tournament and therefore make some noise. I mean, does it feel like we're getting even closer to the SEC in terms of strength in baseball, even without getting that elusive national championship?
Yeah, I think realistically we're a 1A, 1B with the SEC right now. I mean, you saw it last year. Both conferences sent 4 teams to Omaha. Obviously, we struggled a little bit in Omaha, but getting 4 teams of the 8 is mighty impressive feat. The ACC last year finished either first or second in every NCAA selection criteria. We were the only conference in the country to do that. So I think that says a little bit for itself. The ACC finished first in road success and road RPI per the NCAA rankings and won 277 non-conference games last year. I think those are some pretty good numbers, and
that's a stat bomb right there. Write that one down, Monty.
Yeah. There we go. You got the SEC bias, but that's why Micah and I are here to make sure we spread the ACC bias. Although Micah might get converted, he's in SEC territory. We gotta keep an eye on him.
I say we got to make sure those footprints don't sink a little too far.
Yeah.
Country.
Yep. I mean, I get worried knowing how close he is to Texas A&M, and those fans are very, very, very strong in their beliefs. So right now, though, Mike is holding his own.
So far.
They've got a lot to cheer about right now to start the year, and I think it'll be interesting. But I really think we're right there, 1A, 1B with the SEC, and it's going to be a really competitive year, both sides. Last year we finished with 5 of the top 10 teams in the RPI and 7 of the top 20. So that tells you where we stand nationally. And 8 of our teams were in the top 25 of strength of schedule too. So we're not just beating nobodies. We're going out there and beating good teams and competing with the best of the best.
Yeah, those North Carolina schools in particular also are benefiting from the strong mid-major schools in that state as well, because midweeks. I mean, NC State did not have a good time in midweeks because of how strong some of those teams were. But it's interesting. I think it was really important for the ACC to really come out and dominate some of those regionals where they had strong SEC number 2s to kind of make a statement there. I know the SEC will be like, oh, those weren't even our best teams. And that's the point, is the ACC needed to take care of those and to kind of quiet that, because we know we would have heard from the SEC had, the SEC faithful had we not won all those games.
I thought it was interesting last year. I didn't notice it at first, and it might've been one of you two that tweeted it out, to be honest, that all of our teams in the ACC that hosted a regional had an SEC team as their number 2, and none of the SEC teams had an ACC team as their 2 seed or anything of that nature. So it was definitely interesting. Not saying it's cooked, not saying it's biased or anything. Just interesting facts that.
I was trying to think if Georgia Tech was a 2, but they were a 3. I was like, wow, that is crazy to think about.
Yep. And I mean, and the ACC teams took care of business, except obviously Clemson in the supers against Florida. That was a tough one. I mean, I got in trouble because I tweeted that Florida didn't necessarily deserve to be in there, and the reason I was upset is because even though I said they didn't deserve it, I knew they could go on this run, and that's why it's more frustrating, because you have that regular season for a reason. But I mean, good for them to make it to Omaha, but a lot of people were not happy with my tweet. But there's a difference between being good enough to do something and deserving it. But
I wonder if Kirk Herbstreit blocked you for that one, Monty.
Hey, supposedly he doesn't use his own Twitter. That's what I heard today. He said his son's running it. So,
right.
But what are you excited most for the season, John?
I mean, first off the bat, I'm ready for February 14th to get here. That break since June 19th of last year has just been an eternity in the waiting. I touched on it earlier. I'm really excited for ACC baseball after dark. It's going to be fun watching Stanford and Cal throw a first pitch after some of our East Coast teams wrap up. And as I'm finishing things up for those games, getting to watch Golden Bears and Cardinal out there play some solid West Coast competition. And opening weekend really can't get here soon enough. We have some really good talent across the board and really good opponents across the board that I'm looking forward to.
I'm really excited about that opening weekend slate in the Triangle. We got a bit of a Big 12 ACC challenge in Chapel Hill and Durham, which is really exciting. The only thing I want to complain about is that the game times are very close together, so you cannot do both games. So I have to pick and choose. But Duke's got Cincinnati at Coombs, and then Texas Tech is at UNC at Chapel Hill. It's going to be great. I know it's harder to do the night games at this time, in the mid-February. So of course I knew they were probably going to be together, but I still had my fingers crossed.
Oscar wants to make an appearance, it seems. Oscar heard week 1 and knows I'm going to go watch Clemson down here in Texas.
That's right.
So he's like, I got to make an appearance real quick.
He's got the right color and everything for it.
Yes,
I mean, you've got UVA in Puerto Rico and then Round Rock to start the year. They're going and challenging themselves. I mean, you've got a lot of fun baseball to start the year.
I think a sleeper series is the Stanford Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah.
Got 2 huge big name West Coast powerhouses going at it for 4 games on opening weekend. I'm excited to see Boston College come down to USC Upstate that first weekend as well. I think that's another fun series that I'm going to try to hit that first weekend and just get a little bit of bird ball in.
Yep, and Florida State has a sneaky tough opening weekend because they're hosting JMU, who was a tournament team and a regional finalist again in NC State in the Raleigh regional. That's exciting. I mean, we're getting some great matchups right off the bat. When normally you get a little bit more of the cupcakes early on in the first week, and in this case, I think you're getting some really good matchups. And like Micah said, he's got the wonderful one because he gets to see Louisville and Clemson in Texas. They come to him.
So I still got to go 5 hours, Monty. All right, like I still have a haul, but they're coming close.
For the greater footprint of the season. That's going to be a close one for you. They're right in your backyard.
Yeah. This is down the street, just a quick little walk.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's funny you're getting to see BC before I do, because I get to see BC. They come to Richmond for I guess it's the Central Virginia Classic, where a couple teams come in and they go to VCU, Richmond, and William & Mary and go round robin that. That's pretty fun. It's really going to be fun to see what BC's got in the second year of the Todd Interdonato era. I think they're going to be a lot better than people think because, they've got a little bit of a clear identity. It's another year in his system. But that's really exciting to get to see them right off the bat.
I think that's going to be fun to watch them actually fully come to form, or more so come to form. All of Coach Interdonato's pieces and recruits finally getting a year under his belt and then another year to build this out. And I think Boston College could be pretty fun to watch this year as well.
Micah, you had something?
I was just going to tell you the story about why I'm so upset with the ACC in baseball, and I don't know if John even knows this story.
I've got a story as well. So, but
did you guys know that Notre Dame? Do you guys know that Notre Dame was going to come to Lamar in the second weekend of the season? But so what happened is Lamar normally plays in the Lance Berkman Classic with Houston Christian, but obviously Lance Berkman's no longer there, so that kind of fell by the wayside. So Lamar needed a home opponent. Well, They were going to go with Notre Dame, but then Notre Dame didn't call them back right away. So then they grabbed Albany, and the day that they signed the contract with Albany, Notre Dame called back. So I'm just really sad because Notre Dame could have had a weekend series at Lamar, and that would have been awesome. So I'm not actually upset at Notre Dame, but I'm just like, come on, pick up the phone just like one day sooner. Come on, just one day sooner.
That weekend, Notre Dame has Iowa, UMBC, and Stetson.
Yeah, that's what they had to pick up because they couldn't.
That's not a bad slate either.
Yeah, but it would have been so much cooler to have them at Lamar, Monty. Come on.
Yes.
I thought maybe I had traded Pitt at ETSU for Notre Dame at Lamar, but no, it just didn't want to come to be, I guess.
Yeah.
Your Buccaneers are playing a ACC minor schedule this year.
Yeah, they got Virginia Tech. They got
5 games against the ACC teams with 2 with VT and
Gardner Webb's got a schedule like that as well because he was all excited about it. Then he knew I was going to Clemson next because I visited Gardner Webb and he's like, hey, if you talk to Bakich, tell him our field's great and he should come the hour up the road to us. And I'm like, I'll try. I mean,
I'll work that right in the back door there. And
yeah.
When that naturally comes up in conversation, I'll be sure to drop that one.
Yeah.
I'll say, I think ACC fans are going to get to know Liberty really well this year. Yep. I think 11 games against ACC opponents. So Flames fans are going to join.
Can we get that in I don't know. Do you guys do a media guide, John, for the baseball?
I do a media guide.
Can you drop who the most non-con games are? Who's playing?
It's got to be Liberty.
Who's playing the Notre Dame of ACC football schedules in baseball? I need to know who's playing the ACC the most. I need that.
Who gets to be an honorary ACC member? Is that what it is, Micah?
If they make the NCAA tournament, can I be they're in the ACC too?
I say, hey, 11 non-conference games against the ACC has to be the most, right?
I would think so.
I think so, but
I've already been trying to trade Micah coverage because I love Mike Gambino, and I've been trying to claim Penn State as part of the ACC, but Noah's not letting me take it from the Big Ten. But
I just found UNCG has 10 against the ACC as well, so we'll also throw them in the honorary category if you want.
There we go. That's a nice little nugget there. Some mid majors to keep an eye on.
I say we just count the entire state of North Carolina and we'll throw Liberty in there because it's close enough.
Close enough. I'm really excited about this schedule. What I wanted to mention is, and John, I don't know how you guys did this to me. I was all excited for a Georgia Tech Florida State matchup for the Lodi Bowl, and unfortunately, with the size of the conference, that's not going to be able to happen. And I gotta. What's up with that? I mean, I'm assuming you make the schedule, right?
I do not make the schedule.
Yeah, John went down through and said, how can I make Monty the maddest? Let me give him.
My trip to Atlanta was already I'm going to Atlanta that weekend, and then I look at Florida State, because Florida State, I think, dropped theirs before Georgia Tech, and I looked, and I was like, oh, no. I was like, no Lodi Bowl. So now I told them they just have to meet in the ACC tournament or in Omaha.
Absolutely. I'm down for Omaha.
Yeah.
1,000% ready for Omaha. But joking on that, I happen to, like you mentioned earlier, I do track for the ACC as well. And last year I lucked out and got to see the Jackets in person playing Auburn in a midweek game at home while outdoor track was in Atlanta. This year, both Louisville for indoor track and Wake Forest host outdoor track, and they both have home series during track. So I'm going to try and double dip and hit a little of both throughout my time on the road and make, all the trips worth it. Not worth it. Extra worth it.
There you go. I mean, I'm excited about the conference schedule in general. I mean, obviously with 16 teams, they're not all going to play each other, but every week there's just some really high-level matchups. One I'm excited for, it's going to be a Thursday to Saturday series. Stanford coming to Charlottesville, to Virginia. That's going to be a really fun one. I mean, those Thursday to Saturday matchups where you're going to get the nationally televised ACC network game on Thursday night has some really fun options.
I'll say I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't taken a deep dive into the conference slate yet. Really been focusing on the non-conference to start the year here. And I'm really excited for what I do know about our conference schedule. And remember off the top of my head, there's going to be some really fun ones throughout those Thursday night matchups, and definitely some must-watch television for those tuning into ACC Network.
Absolutely. That's pretty much gonna do it for us. Unless Micah, do you have anything else you want to talk to Jon about on the air? I mean, obviously, there's plenty that we want to talk to Jon about off the air, but
no, I mean, I guess Jon, I guess it's a question that makes sense for the podcast. Do we do media polls for ACC baseball? Like, I just don't remember if there was one last year. Was it just coaches?
Just coaches, yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, I wasn't sure because I don't even think the SEC did them. I couldn't remember, so it was more just a random. I can't remember question.
When are we getting an ACC baseball media day like basketball and football have, where everybody gets to come down?
Not gonna lie to you, I sent your tweet around to some people the other day, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, that'd be a great.
No promises by any means.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that involves some logistics and money and stuff like that. But that would be an awesome event, to get all the coaches together and get all that, really be able to have a day or a couple of days where you're able to really just show off the conference.
I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know if logistically it makes a ton of sense, but it's definitely something I've floated around throughout the weekend this week.
It'd be scary to see Monty waiting outside the doors at 7:59 when it opens up at 8:00, just waiting for the doors to open of whatever media hotel you decide to do it at.
I'll say waiting for the front seat in the press conference room.
Provided I'm invited. I mean, it looks a little bit better if I'm waiting while invited. If I haven't been invited, I'm waiting. It's a little bit weirder, right?
So we might start to ask some questions if you're just waiting outside wait outside.
You're like those SEC super fans that just wait outside for the autographs to take a selfie with Nick Saban. You can just be that, just waiting there for your picture with Todd Interdonato.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I did a little bit of that at the ABCA, trying to get some FaceTime with the coaches, some of the coaches. So that was kind of funny that you mentioned that. I was waiting outside some of the meetings, waiting to just grab somebody as they came out. But anyway, Jon, do you have anything else you want to share? Anything else you're really excited about for the ACC?
No, I think we're all around really excited for this 2025 season to get going. I know we've talked about Stanford and Cal a lot in the show tonight, but I'm really looking forward to what's in store this year, from new look West Coast teams traveling to the East Coast going west. Maybe we start playing some games in the middle. I don't know. It's all going to be a lot of fun.
I can get you a field in Beaumont, Texas if you need some help, Jon. I got you. Let me know.
I'll run that up the flagpole this week and make that suggestion. It's a natural, good middle point for some people.
Yeah. And it's a tourist destination, let me tell you.
All right. That's awesome. That's going to do it for us here. Micah is going to be back in a couple of episodes once we start doing our deep dive previews. We're starting with Boston College, going in alphabetical order. We're basically going to be releasing those every weekday or weeknight, going right up until the season starts. First pitch on Valentine's Day, February 14th. But for our next two episodes, we have two D1 baseball guys, Aaron Fitt and Darren Vaught. So keep an eye out for those. Those are going to be really fun. They're two separate episodes. But until then, it just means less.